In this video, I will tell the story of disabled people's struggle in getting employment or earning a living. Most of the time, people will look at disabled people as somebody who is a welfare case at the end of receiving handouts. So they don't respect them, and the disabled themselves don't have the pride that they are a useful, contributing person to, for example, family and all these things. One of my visually impaired friend told me that after he started to work and give some money to the family, all the members of the family changed in the way they look at him. I understand that because society is such that they are not kind to people who don't work, and they look down on us. This is how the disabled people who cannot work feel, and they are swallowing the pain, not because they don't want to work, but because there are so few opportunities and so difficult for them to work. Take my case, for example. I have a degree, and after I graduated, I wrote 60 letters, 60 letters of application, and I didn't get any reply. Actually, to be correct, I got only one reply from a factory that said that they will consider, and if they want me, they'll write to me. And I'm telling my story in relation to the broader issues faced by the disabled. After a family friend, heard about my problems, he contacted me and asked me whether I want to join his shoe factory. The name of the shoe factory is International Footwear, and the friend is the managing director of that factory by the name of Mr. Lok Yu Pai. He's a very kind-hearted man and offered me the job, and I grabbed the job because to me it's an opportunity. Before I worked for him, I was invited to take a look at the factory to see whether I have any problem. I discovered that actually factory environment is actually quite suitable for people on wheelchair, because they need to push materials around, they need to push the shoes to packing department to pack them in cartons, and they need to push the already packed shoes to lorry. So they're all flat. I can use my wheelchair to go to almost all area in the factory. So there's no problem. So I grabbed the opportunity and worked for him. And I was determined to work hard and be treated as an employee, not a welfare case. After I worked for a few years, I recommended to my boss, Mr. Low, that maybe he should employ more wheelchair users. I say that is because during those period, it was not really very easy to get workers in Penang because the electronic factories are attracting more with all the aircons and bars provided, and so we are not getting enough workers as our business was not bad and was expanding. So he agreed, and we started to employ wheelchair users. I was at that time already in network, in connection with the Cheshire Home of Penang. So I talked to them. So they brought in some wheelchair users to the factory, International Footwear, to interview and ask them whether they want to work in the factory. And in fact, many wanted to work and join. So at the peak, we have about 10 disabled people, maybe 7 or 8 wheelchair users plus 1 or 2 hearing impaired, who were there because of previous employment, or I don't exactly know how she was employed. But then there were about 10 disabled people working in this factory. And it was good. It was successful. And I want to state here in the record that one of the wheelchair users were able to work in an assembly line. Please note that the assembly line where the shoes is moving on the conveyor belt. His only problem is that on a wheelchair, he cannot reach the shoe. So we developed a jig, something like an iron rod, for him to pull the shoe nearer to him so that he can work at the shoe and then place it back on the conveyor belt. So actually, it is possible. And we have a mentally challenged person who works in the factory. Quiet, always smiling, very friendly, but he doesn't talk much. And he was doing manual work of pushing things around. And I remember him because he smoked a lot. And his mother came and said, he spent all the money smoking. But he told his colleague that not true. He gave the money a lot to the mother. So it is possible. The point that I'm trying to say is that those are genuine case of employment. And Cheshire Home play an important role in providing transport to bring this group of people to the factory initially. And later, some will go on modified motorcycle, some will go on a tricycle. And this thing was done quietly in a private company without hoo-ha, without much fanfare. And genuine case. At that time, there's no such thing as the government say, oh, you must have a certain quota and all this thing. All this quota actually created problems because some company will just employ disabled as a showcase to fulfill the quota, but then not really genuine. And the other people will look at them as this is a welfare case. But during our time, we work as a genuinely efficient people working for the company. Nobody dared to laugh at us. And for those who cannot work in the factory, many ended up earning a living by selling lotteries. The idea of selling lotteries is not to beg. I'm selling something to you, and if you want to buy, you buy from me. I'm not begging you to give me money. That's the concept behind the whole thing. Because in those days, there were a lot of people selling lotteries. So somebody organized a group of disabled person go and sell lottery in Penang, in Georgetown. I distinctly remember there is one Mr. Neo on a wheelchair. He will push his wheelchair from somewhere near Sungai Penang, Bakau Street, to Pulau Tikus market every day to sell his lottery, and after that push the wheelchair back to his home in Sungai Penang. Because in those days, the bus is not accessible. That is a sad thing. And he has to push his wheelchair every day. How many kilometers? To and from Sungai Penang to Lautikus and then back. And then he's able to earn enough to rent a small room, share with a friend, and earn his own living. So these are all independent living. They are living in a real life situation in a genuine sense. So I make this video to document, to say what happened in the 80s. This happened in the 80s. And International Footwear continue to employ disabled people until the Penang plant was shut down. Even then, the plant in Nibung Tabao employed one wheelchair user, and the company provide transport every day for him to go from Penang to Nibung Tabao. He worked in Nibung Tabao until the factory shut down. So it is possible, and this is what happened to the people who struggle to get employment and real employment. Lastly, I want to make a point. Employment for disabled person, you must look at the disability. If you are on crutches, there's a good chance for you to be able to work in more unfriendly environment. If you are educated, then you're going to become a clerk or whatever. But if you are not educated because you are on wheelchair when you were young, and if you are a wheelchair, your chances of getting employed is very low because the environment is not friendly. The school is not very friendly, so you don't get good education. And without good education and with a body that needs wheelchair, you need to struggle. You have a lot of problems in getting employment. I will end my video here. Thank you for watching this video.